Hi, I'm Matthew Cavalier and welcome back to my channel, Moments with Matthew. If you have watched any of my videos, you know I've discussed my own mental health journey, and that includes some depression and anxiety and a lot of migraines over the years. And I thought today I would talk a little bit about what that journey has been like through medication. Now, this is not in any way medical advice. This is completely my story. If you have questions about these medications, talk to your doctor, your therapist, or both. I have had a great therapist and several really good doctors that have helped me along this journey, but you must do that with your own doctor. Before we get started, please do click that like button. It really does help the channel, and I am truly grateful. Also, do click the subscribe button and that little bell so that you know the next time a video comes out. So for depression, I have been on an antidepressant, escitalopram, which is the generic of Lexapro. That's not for everybody. It really is something that, again, you want to talk to your doctor about. If you are experiencing symptoms of depression, you talk to them and they will get you onto the right medication if that is your necessary course of action. For me, I have been on and off it for about 15 or 16 years now. And when I say on and off, I really do mean on and off. I would take it when it was first prescribed. I took it for about a year and then I slowly weaned myself off of it. I was good for about a year and a half to 2 years, and then I needed to go back on it again. I probably continued in that cycle 4 or 5 times before the last time I went on it about 3 years ago. And in those 3 years, I really made the decision to stay on it, that it was a necessary thing for me that I will probably need to take for the rest of my life. And that took a lot for me to admit, because even when I first was prescribed the medication, my doctor wanted me on it for 6 months to a year and then off of it. Every doctor that I've seen has tried to say, we want you to be on it, we want your brain chemicals to right themselves, and then we want to wean you off of it. Always warning me not to quit cold turkey because that can kind of send you into a spiral. So I was very wary of that. So that idea also had me thinking, oh, see, I really don't want to be on this long term. And it became a matter of, oh, I feel better. I'm all good now. Psh, I don't need this medication anymore. And I didn't want to stay on it. I didn't want to feel like I had to be dependent on an antidepressant. It made me feel weak. It made me feel like I just wasn't good enough and that I wanted to get off it as quickly as possible. So like I said, I was in that vicious cycle several times until finally I went back on it and my doctor said, I'd like you to stay on this for about 6 months. And I said, listen, I will look at that and I will keep that in mind, but I really do think that this needs to be a much longer commitment for me. I don't know that it is just going to be a 6-month trial. And I said, you know, we've tried this before, but I just don't think it works long term for me. I think I need to stay on this medication. The doctor kind of stepped back and said, all right, we'll take a look at it. We'll look at it every year to see how you're doing and see if you want to continue forward. Once I accepted that I was going to stay on my escitalopram, the Lexapro generic, I really found that I was able to accept it easier. I was able to let go a lot of society's issues with taking antidepressants. And I realized, you know what? This is what is right for me. It is no one else's choice or business what I am doing to make sure that my mental health is stable for me. So that is what I have done. On top of that, I also take diazepam, which is the generic of Valium, and that is for my anxiety. And I don't take that on a regular basis. My anxiety is not consistent. My anxiety comes and goes. As a matter of fact, I have been in the midst of a little bit of a anxiety mountain over the last couple of days, so I have had to lean on my anti-anxiety medication, but it is good to know that it is there, and I am glad, being that it is a narcotic, that I don't have to be on it on a consistent basis. I don't want to rely on that anti-anxiety. And I know that's a complete opposite flip of what I just said about Lexapro, but the diazepam can hook you a little bit easier, so I do want to be very careful with that, and I continue to have conversations with my doctor. Again, if my anxiety were more consistent and more regular, I would absolutely look at taking it on a daily, weekly, whatever my doctor chose basis. He gave me that drug in particular to make sure that when I was having an issue, I could take it, and it was pretty fast acting. So that one I take on an as needed basis. But again, if that is something you feel you need to do, it is a conversation with a therapist, psychologist, and doctor. I would say all need to be involved in this decision making, because they understand what's good for your health, but you understand what is really good for your mental health. You know what you need. So don't be afraid to advocate for yourself, just like I did with the escitalopram and saying, I think I need to stay on this longer than 6 months. I want to end this cycle of back and forth. You need to advocate for you. That doesn't mean that's the decision everyone will reach. They may have ideas for you, but again, get your medical care provider involved. The last one I was taking was sumatriptan for my migraines, and I was having migraines all the time. 6 or 7 years ago, my migraines would come twice a week, 3 times a week, sometimes absolutely debilitating, and I would throw up, and it was just awful. It was terrible. Light would do it, sound would do it. I just couldn't handle it. And so I started going to this doctor right around the time that I also started to lose weight, and I was telling them about my migraines and what they were doing. So he gave me sumatriptan along with Zofran, which is for nausea, because the two don't always mix, so be careful with that. And again, talk it over with your doctor. But once I started taking those, and I started to have a better healthy eating habit, including completely cutting out Diet Coke and replacing a lot of that with water. I drink a lot more water now. I don't have those migraines anymore. What it turned out to be for me was dehydration. I thought I was going through these issues of migraines, and in the end, what was truly happening was my body was saying, I need water. Because I would pop a Diet Coke and drink that like it was water. It didn't matter to me. I rarely drank water. So when I started to lose weight and I gave up the Diet Coke and replaced that with tea and water, I started to notice that my headaches just kind of disappeared. And it was great. So I do have the sumatriptan on hand just in case, because every once in a while I do still get a really bad headache, and it usually is not about water. So although I do down a lot of water just to be safe, so if I do have to take it, I take it very, very sparsely. I don't take it very often because I don't need to anymore, because I figured out what that problem was. And that is the thing about some of our medications, particularly those that we're a little nervous to take on a regular basis. For me, I got curious about my migraines, and those stopped, so I don't regularly need that medication. And I know that a lot of us really feel like, oh, I don't want to be on all these different medications. Again, that's something to talk with your doctor about, but it's also something for you to get curious about. What is the deep-seated problem here? Obviously, my depression, my anxiety, I'm going to continue to take those pills, but I was able to wean myself off of 2 other pills because I made a healthy choice habit in my life to drink a lot more water. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you. Again, this is not medical advice. This is for you to have a conversation with your doctor. But I've talked so much about my mental health journey, I figured I should also have a conversation about the medications that are helping me on this journey. So if you feel you need that, reach out to your doctor and make sure you have those good conversations and go in prepared. Do your research. That is one thing I did prior to moving from one doctor to another to make sure that I was on the right path. So do your research, talk to your doctor, always get medical advice. Thank you for joining me this week. I really do appreciate you showing up week after week. If you know someone who needs to see this video, please do share it with them and click the link below for my socials where we can continue this conversation there. Please do click that like button. It really does help my channel. I am so grateful for all of you, and do click that subscribe and that bell so you will know when the next video comes out, and I'll see you next time on A Moment with Matthew.